Welcome everyone to Live Guitar Solos. I'm Ed Bazaar and we have a special guest today from the Australian prog metal band I Built the Sky, Mr. Rohan Stevenson. Thank you so much for your time and having this chat with me.
My pleasure, man. Happy to be here.
Did you know that there's a composer from Western Australia who has the same name as you?
Yes. I love that guy. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
All right.
Yeah.
He's got some awesome music. I was like, oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. I know. I tend to roll with it sometimes if people are depending on what it is. Yeah.
That's cool. I saw you and your band for the first time last year in January, opening for Pliny.
Oh yeah.
And I was blown away. You know, and look, I'm not the be all and end all of all music, and like I hadn't actually heard of you guys, but I was, as I said, blown away. I followed you on everything, started listening to your music, and yeah, that was my introduction to you. So again, it's cool to have you on today. You traveled the world, no doubt, playing your music. So pretty good.
Man. Totally, man. What show was it that you saw? Which city?
It was there was an American band there as well. It was the first of that tour. It was the first show of that tour in Sydney at the Metro.
Sydney. Yeah, right. Man, that was crazy hot. That was insanely hot.
It was. It really was. I know. But that was great. Just to see you up there and just the riffage. That's what I was most impressed by. That's what I love about your sound. You know, that metal riffage. It's like melodic riffing in a way. You're very sort of articulate in your choice of notes. Would that sort of describe what your music sounds like?
Yeah, I suppose it's like essentially progressive metal, but there's other flavors in there. Like I sort of draw from punk music a little bit too, so I sort of incorporate that in some of the guitar layers underneath. I feel like a lot of that stuff you can trace back to punk sort of music, and yeah, I like to throw little curveballs here and there, like some acoustic sort of sounds and all of that stuff. But it's hopefully all somehow related to like what I like my sound, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. So there's a bit of shredding, bit of palm muting, bit of legato here and there. You know, it's just but it's not just all out shredding, which is I thought was actually very unique sounding.
That's epic. Yeah, sweet. Glad.
Yeah. One of my favorite songs of yours actually is Rage Against Hero.
Oh yeah.
And which shows like if you guys all listen to it, Rohan can shred like crazy.
Oh fuck yeah.
But that's not really what you want for your sound, is that right?
Yeah, I sort of I don't really consider myself like a shred kind of guy. Like I feel like a lot of artists in this style sort of have a way of being very lyrical with their playing. But I feel like I'm more of a riff kind of guy with elements of like solos here and there, but I don't know. I feel like I'm 60-70% riffs. Yeah.
But it's still very technical. Like, I wouldn't say it's just, you're just playing chords or, all the time or anything like that. It's very, very nuanced kind of sound. Yeah, that's what I thought was unique. Is that what was sort of the when you were sort of forming your sound in the earlier days? What were some of your influences and sort of the thought process behind what made your sound?
I think it was an extension of sort of the stuff Misha Mansour was doing with his Bulb project, pre-Periphery sort of thing. So he was putting out a lot of like really epic instrumental stuff, super heavy, but also super melodic. So I was trying to go down that road, I guess. And then just as time goes on, things evolve, and change around a bit. But yeah, it's sort of more so, yeah, extending from that kind of vibe, I think.
Cool. So what musical influences help to shape your sound or define your sound or influenced you?
I think it's anything from like Meshuggah to pop punk stuff, Saves the Day, Blink-182, and obscure underground bands, Moneen's, another pop punk sort of band from Canada, that comes to mind. And then there's a lot of like the modern sort of progressive players like Paul Ortiz of Chimp Spanner, Misha Mansour, Cloud Kicker, another guy making instrumental sort of metal stuff. I also love like bands like Foo Fighters and stuff like that, Nirvana, like more so earlier stuff, I guess. But I think I've got a lot of influences, even like electronic stuff. There's a band called The Midnight, which I've been listening to a lot more recently. I don't know if that's a direct influence, but it probably seeps in certain ways in my songwriting and things like that. I mean, there's an endless list of artists that I could rattle off for sure that sort of I feel like have something to do with where I've ended up with my sound. But yeah, I'm also, I'm trying to curate my own flavor as well and double down on that sound as things go. And I think I've got some sort of carving in that space amongst the progressive metal scene, hopefully.
Now, you just mentioned The Midnight. Is that 80s sounding band?
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, look, I didn't know we were going to talk about this, but let me just sort of say a few things. My buddy Dan at my job at work, he put me onto them. Like, he loves metal. Like, he's a metalhead through and through. We're both going to Iron Maiden in September.
Yeah.
And we're talking about metal every day. Just guitar, old school stuff, AC/DC, everything.
Yeah.
But he put me onto. He also loves that sort of 80s sound. So The Midnight. So they're American. They were just here on tour, actually.
Yeah.
Did you get to see them?
I actually saw them. I think one of their first times they came out, but I didn't catch them on this most recent one, unfortunately.
Yeah. So there was that, and I checked out some of the songs that my friend told me about them. And I was like, I did some searching. You know how you get the suggestions of Spotify or whatever you use, you get the suggestions. And there is a whole scene of these 80s sounding throwback synth rock. Just, I couldn't believe it. It blew my mind. I made a whole new playlist of, I don't know if you've heard of The Strike.
Maybe I've come across them, but yeah.
Check them out. I'll send you links. But anyway, I got a bit distracted there. I got excited. You said that, but like you said, in some ways that sort of has helped your sound or given you motivation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always try to introduce new sounds. When you're a creator, you try to keep doing something fresh with new music. So I'm always like seeking new concepts and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, Midnight is a band I'm really enjoying, and I think there'll be a hint of it in there. I don't know if you trace it back necessarily, but yeah, if you really dig in, there might be a bit of a hint of it in there that if you didn't hear me explain it, you might get lost on you, but you might pinpoint it if I was to explain that. Yeah, I've been listening to The Midnight. Yeah.
That's great. I'm really I'm not alone listening to these.
Yeah, I know heaps of metal guys that love it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah. All right, cool. So what about your musical knowledge? Have you had actual musical training or education, or are you just self-taught?
I did actually study music, and I did a degree. I got a bachelor's in music performance, and you essentially study jazz music in those courses. And I learnt so much about music theory and stuff in that. But I also think your own exploration as a creative person is a lot of your own learning and development too. The theory stuff is good because you can put a name to it and you can explain it, and you can, but you don't necessarily need that to create. Like, I mean, there's heaps of artists I love that, you know, you see them in interviews that they say, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing, but I'm just, you know, good with their ears and follow their ears and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely learned as much as I could growing up and studying music later on, and then I just spent after I did that degree, I just spent a lot of my time doing my own creating and exploring and trying to figure out the sounds I use. And yeah,
it definitely shows with the landscapes that you create with your sound, with your songs. I mean, the instrumentation, you know, the arrangements. They're very complex. You know, I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, it's funny how you mentioned Blink 182, but it's sort of, yeah, I'm sure there's elements in there, but you've definitely. I wouldn't say, I can't really pinpoint personally many other bands that's probably do what you're doing. Maybe there are. Maybe I'm not as educated, but especially in Australia, I haven't really heard much of that. Would you say that's true?
Yeah, it's super niche. The style in general is super niche, you know, for sure. I mean, but I see new artists coming up in that I've newly discovered that are doing really cool stuff. All the time. So I don't know. It's weird. I feel like what I'm doing is pretty niche, but there's lots of offshoots that have maybe like their fingertips in the progressive metal thing, but they've sort of branched off into something else, you know.
Mm-hmm. Would you say how important would you say it is, not with, I mean, now knowing that you have a musical theory background, education, to explore your own sound, and what was your sort of process to do that rather than just stick to what's in the book, basically?
Yeah, I think it's crucial. Like, it doesn't matter what you learn, it's how you apply it that you know means anything. So people fall into the trap. They know everything about music, but they just can't write a decent song. So it all comes back to the songwriting for me, and it's a trial and error thing, I guess. You know, you're just constantly trying things and learning from songs you like and stuff. You know, and exploring. And I think, yeah, it's not a crucial that you know everything about theory. I don't know everything about theory, but it's all about just putting pen to paper, I guess, and exploring and finishing songs and you're learning from what you've done. Like, I feel like all the music I've put out over the time, I've learnt in that process, and I know, like, you've got more tools to work with when you're sitting there. You know, you can reference, oh yeah, that worked really well, that kind of formula or whatever it was, progression or sort of production thing or who knows what, you know.
Yeah. So what's the process like for writing for your band? I mean, so do you bring in an idea, or are you jamming with the band? How does that usually work for you to obviously get enough material to make an album?
I write all the music, so I'm sitting at a computer with program drums and program bass typically, and riffing along. Generally, I'll jam to like a really open-ended drum groove, so it's more like the BPM tempo that I play around with, and then I keep the drum groove sort of open-ended, so it's not sort of steering me in one way or another. And then I'll start incorporating my own accents and things, and then I can start shaping the drums to those accents, and then you know, add layers on top. So I might have the fundamental riff with the accents that it might be a bit offbeat accents and things, and then I'll start building up layers of guitar, maybe add some other elements, pianos or synth or something like that, and then just try and build up a section. And then from there, it's like, okay, where would this go? Where can this go? You know, try and add to it, make a new section that sort of feeds off that first section, and it's just snowballs that way, constantly trying to fill out new sections, and then you sort of have somewhat of a form of a song, and then you got to figure out, how am I going to start this? How am I going to end it? Does it need something else in that middle section? Is there enough interest as a whole for someone to listen to this and be engaged for the entire song? You know, it's a constant. You're going constantly back from being the creator to being the listener, and trying to get in that headspace of a listener and see how you feel about it, purely just listening through and letting it wash over you and assessing what needs to be adjusted, I suppose. Yeah.
Until you find that sweet spot, and it's like, oh yeah, but you're the sole songwriter, is that right?
Yeah.
This is your project, right? Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So that's great. I mean, it just really gives us some insight to, well, that's progressive music. I mean, because you're telling a story at the same time. Is that right?
Yeah, for sure. It's very, yeah. I feel like it is a story, definitely. Yeah. And then
without lyrics.
Yeah, exactly. I think also where I have a really unique angle is that the live performances, we definitely change things and add things. Like I've got a really great keyboard player who adds solos and things in different spots where there wasn't solos before. So we do experiment with the live form a bit there, and add drum solos and things, and just explore things, make it exciting for a live interpretation, which is cool. And I've learned a lot in that environment too. So I want to bring in more of those exciting elements on the recordings as well. Like I'm going to be recording live instruments, drums and keyboards and things for this upcoming album I'm working on at the moment.
Okay, cool. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you something about that a bit later now that you mentioned it. But I've got another question. So why instrumental music? Why did you take that path?
That's a great question. I think it's a great style of music to create in. I love the challenge of trying to make something engaging that doesn't have vocals, and I also enjoy instrumental music that doesn't have vocals, where the focus is on the riffs and the instrumentation and the music and the ambience and stuff like that, and there's not necessarily someone like shouting at you and telling you about their relationship or whatever it is, and I do love that music too, but like there's something as a creative, it's like trying to make something that's a killer song that doesn't have vocals is a fun challenge. It's so open-ended. Like I feel like I could do a lot in that style. I could probably release a keyboard song or something, and I love that. I love that really experimental element of creativity, and you're not trying to make a song verse chorus bridge outro, whatever it is, that makes sense with a singer, and I want the attention on me, not the singer. Come on.
And you've done it. You've been doing it for like what, 12 years now, right?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, been a long journey. I've started off doing it more so as a hobby and that, but as time went on, I thought I want to take this a bit more seriously and see if I can progress into a career potentially. Yeah.
Oh, so okay. So I didn't know this. So this started out as a hobby for you. So you're just a bedroom musician.
Yeah, basically, like literally this whole thing started because before that, I was trying to make a career as an artist. I was trying to be in a band that was potential to reach a large audience and become a career out of it, but that didn't work out. And then I decided, you know what, I'm just going to do my own thing, do it as a hobby, get a job, move out of home, and just do that and just have fun with it. And then as time went on, I could see that there was people listening and commenting and encouraging me and stuff. So it just made me think like, man, maybe there's potential here to build this up. And then at some point, my job no longer working for me, and I could see that there was a glimmer of hope that maybe this could work as a career. So I decided to give it my all and jump ship and jump into it as a full-time potential career, and I'm still here somehow.
That's great. I mean, just you hustled, right? You really you gave it your all, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, you found oh no doubt you thought I might have something here because you're going off the comments and the feedback of people. What platform were you using? MySpace?
No, actually, mostly YouTube. Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly YouTube, and then I guess Facebook too, like Facebook and YouTube, where I kind of started, and then I'm mostly on Instagram these days. I don't really pay too much attention to Facebook. I think I don't know, it seems to be a dead platform. But yeah, YouTube's still going great. I just released a song with Charlie Robbins that did really well on YouTube. Yeah, but I'm trying to. I put most of my concentration on the actual music and creativity, and then just worry about the posts and stuff.
Yeah.
As we go, but yeah.
I mean, but in this day and age, obviously, like you were explaining, you had a band. I mean, how many were in the band? Like 3 or 4?
This like prior to what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was in like 10 bands. I was in heaps of bands. Yeah, so I've experienced heaps before this even started. But yeah, various bands with different lineups, different styles, and lots had potential for sure. But it's pretty tricky working with a band. You know, it's a difficult thing if you're not all on the same page. I was always probably the annoying band member that kept on trying to push everyone to do stuff, and then getting frustrated when I felt like someone else wasn't pulling their weight, you know. So doing it alone is actually a bit of a superpower, I think, because it all comes back to you. If it's not done, it's because of you, and I know that. So it's just it's either gets done or it doesn't, and it's because of me, you know. So yeah,
I agree. Like you don't have to align how many different schedules for everything, sort of thing. Like not to say that being in a band is a bad thing. I mean, if a band has found their way, that all kudos to them. But you've stripped down and said like your whole outlook and said, okay, it's just me now.
Yeah, it's actually I really love it. Like I love that thing, being in control of what I'm doing and knowing what's going on. Like, because I manage myself, I do have a booking agent at the moment, but that's kind of it. So I know exactly what's happening, exactly what I'm trying to do. There's no complications, no schedules to figure out. I mean, until it comes to live, then it's back into, okay, who's free and who's available, blah, blah, blah. But it's been a total pleasure. Like I'm lucky to have everyone I work with, on the live side of things is just world-class musicians and people, so it's always a great experience so far on that front.
Cool. So what about, can you explain Quiet Place Away, your all acoustic album? That's total shift. It's great. But it's so different. What was the lead up to that? What encouraged you to do that?
Well, I had always put on like an acoustic song on my releases since I started. So my very first album, which is self-titled, has an acoustic song on there. And I love acoustic music. Like I'm a big fan of acoustic music, and I love playing acoustic guitar, and I love everything about it, and I also love the shift, because when you're writing acoustic music, you're not thinking of like drum production or fancy stuff. You're really thinking about what can I do on this one instrument at one time for the most part. You're writing music. It's just you and the guitar, and I wrote a lot of those songs away from the computer. So I love, as a creative person, that's just a fun change, So, but yeah, I could see that there was a few acoustic things I put out. Like I did some collaborations with another acoustic artist, and I could see that there was a lot of people out there that really enjoyed that sort of thing and that sort of sound, as did I making it. So at one point in time, I'm just like, fuck it. I'm just going to commit to a whole album and just give it the best, just give it my all, and like whatever. Like at the end of the day, my style, I want to nurture the ability to release different sounds and different styles under this umbrella, and yeah. that album happened. Yeah.
I think it's a brave thing that you've done as well, because you're not just stuck in one sort of mold at all. Really, you've got other influences, other tastes, and you're willing to explore it.
Yeah.
Would you say you needed? Was it a bit hard decision for you to make a full album of acoustic tunes, not metal at all?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy decision to make, but like I prioritize my creative self above all, because if I'm not enjoying what I'm doing, I'm not having fun, then it's just gonna crash in a heap, And it's not, and it's not to say that I've changed my style, because just before that album dropped, I had a split EP with Jake, which is much more in the metal sort of world, with probably some of the heaviest stuff I've done anyway. So it's just all part of my creative brain, I suppose. And I just love to make music and create, and I feel like I have to be open about it. I love new things. I don't want to make the same album every single time. But yeah, having said that, my new album that I'm working on now is much more familiar territory, but it incorporates the best of what I've learned, I think.
Mm. What was the recording process for you for Quiet Place? Was it more laid back than normal, like than being in front of the computer and making hard music, which is both are amazing, but how different was the experience for you just doing acoustic?
Yeah, it was actually very different. We actually hired an Airbnb for like a week or two, and recorded all the guitars there. And actually, I would write the music, and then on the guitar or the couch, so away from the computer, which is super different to how I normally make a metal song. And then I would like program the guitars in my Pro Tools sessions just to solidify the length of the song and the BPM and stuff like that, and play with that. And then we recorded all the guitars at a Airbnb. It's beautiful Airbnb. It was unreal. And I actually made a documentary on that, which is on YouTube, and it sort of goes through how that played out. And then I did a lot of work with Forrester Saville, who's in the Gold Coast, who's done like Carnival albums and heaps of amazing albums. And we did a whole string recording sessions and more guitars and percussion, different things like that. So yeah, it was so wildly different to what I would typically do. Yeah.
Interesting just to see the contrast.
For sure.
What guitars what guitars did you use for that session?
I've got this really cool custom shop Maton acoustic guitar, which is like a Dreadnought acoustic. And that's what I used for probably like 90% of that album. And then we tried a few different instruments. We had this really nice Taylor acoustic guitar that we used on some songs. And what else? I had like a slide guitar and just other guitars that we just tried out. But I think mainly it was that Maton guitar that was used.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that what guitar did you use at the gig? Or do you use at your gigs? Do you just use one acoustic? Because you did play one acoustic song in that set.
Yeah. Okay. So for that tour, I probably just had that one. I think I actually had a different one at that point. That's called a Maton Messiah guitar, which is like a production line one, but it's a very high quality one, which I really enjoy. I've been playing that a lot lately. But I actually do use the custom shop one live too. But it's just a bit tricky to take it out because you take something out on the road, someone's going to drop it, all that stuff. I try to avoid that, but I do bring it out. Like it just depends. Like the thing is, I've got different tunings and stuff, so you need an alternate guitar just to be able to play songs back to back without having to retune a guitar, which takes ages.
Mm. Oh, so you were invited to play at NAMM 2020.
Yes, I was.
That was Bare Knuckles. Was it Bare Knuckles?
Yeah, bare knuckle pickups. So I've been using bare knuckle pickups since probably like 2016 or 17. Well, no, maybe earlier actually, probably like 2014. And I just built up a relationship with them over time, and they've been really supportive. They've donated me pickups and giveaway pickups and things. So they've been really, really good. And yeah, in 2020, they wanted me to demo some of their big pickups at their booth. So I got to play at NAMM, which was really, really cool. Went really, really well. That was just before COVID, actually. Yeah, all that stuff. And I managed to sneak in a quick tour with Monuments, and then everything got locked up. But actually, with the lockdown stuff, I just chose to try to be as productive as possible with creating new stuff. So that's sort of where the acoustic album really kicked off, because I had a lot of time to create. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, lockdown affected everyone. I mean, some people were stressed out about it. Some people couldn't work, but
Yeah.
you said you just knuckled down on your music.
Yeah, what else can you do? I mean, I definitely got severe depression through it, but what can you do? You just got to keep going, really. I don't know.
And music was an outlet for you, say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, and you were using a Kiesel at NAMM.
I no longer use Kiesel. I don't own any Kiesels, but I was back then.
Yeah. Are you a Charvel, fully Charvel now?
I'm actually like a bit of a free agent these days on the electrics. So I do have a few really nice Charvels, and I've got this custom build in the works with a company called Aviator Guitars. They're from the Czech Republic. They make these really nice guitars. They're really niche. What's the word? Like boutique. Yeah. So we met up at Radar Festival in 2023, and they're like, we really want to work with you and make a build with you and stuff. So they gave me an offer too good to refuse, and we've got a build in the works, and I get updates from them all the time. So it's that should be finished any minute now, I think.
I have to check that out. I haven't heard. There's so many guitar, as you know, different guitar companies out there, but sometimes it's the one you never expect, I guess.
Yeah, they make great stuff. Like I got to play a whole bunch of their guitars at their display that they had, and I've seen some awesome artists using them as well. So yeah,
cool. Okay, so I from what I understand, you are now, I'm not sure if it's still happening, but the new guitarist of Sunk Loto.
Yes.
Which is old school. I mean, I never, because I was more, Santana, AC/DC, all these 80s metal, Whitesnake and all that. But I didn't, they were pretty big, like in the early 2000s and all that. And their name was always around. Like then they just disappeared for a long time. Yeah. But then they come back, and you're the new guitarist. So how did that come about?
Yeah, so they ended in 2007, and they released an album called Between Birth and Death, which was one of my favorite metal albums ever. So they were a band that made a big impact on me from back in the day, and I went and saw them a bunch of times and really loved their music. And I never stopped liking their music. I'd listened to their music through those years when they weren't active and things. But then I've actually got a mutual friend that knows the guys, and we'd always, I'd ask them what's going on with them, because they were such a sick band and they just seemed to just evaporate and go out of nowhere and just sort of disappear. But yeah, then they reformed and got back on stage, and I went to their shows. But then they had a bit of a problem with one of their members, and I think my name got thrown around a little bit to be able to do it, because their music is pretty complicated music, like super tech metal stuff, so it's kind of a tricky one to be able to replicate. But I sort of got in contact and had a bit of a jam with them and stuff. And then I just said, if you need a guitarist, I'm definitely down to do it. And yeah, now we're balls deep in the new album, and it's all really exciting.
That's cool. So it's sort of, that must be sort of surreal in a sense for you.
Yeah, crazy. Like, I'm a big fan of that band, and still am. I love all their music, and they made a big impact on me. Like, because when they were doing heaps of big gigs and festival stuff, I was quite young, but yeah, they I mean, they were a big act, like with Sony label and stuff like that. So they played big day out festivals and huge stuff. Toured America, played with Korn and Linkin Park and massive bands. So they were a big deal, and are still a big deal in my eyes.
Yeah, that's cool. Correct me if I'm wrong. So, because from the earlier stuff, from what I remember, like they had a sort of Silvercherry / Incubus-y sort of, maybe a bit heavier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, spot on, man, for sure.
But your single that you released with them, so you obviously co-wrote that with them. It's full of your signature riffage, man. I love it. It's different from the early stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I think I mean, you know, it's all part of it. You're trying to make the sound of that band, but in a more current form, I guess. And you know, I'm me, so I can't escape what I do. So you're just trying to do the best you can, and that's the first thing that happened. But we've got a whole bunch of stuff in the works at the moment, which is different to that, but it still fits in under the umbrella for sure.
Yeah, that's the evolution. I guess it's evolution, and it's been how many years? So you can't expect to just sound exactly the same, right? Exactly. So yeah, everyone. So the name of that song is "The Gallows Weight."
That's it.
"The Gallows Weight" by Sunk Loto, an Australian metal band, and Rohan is the guitarist of that band, and they are amazing. Check them out.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
There's going to be an album. There's going to be a tour as well.
Yeah, all of that stuff in future, definitely. But at the moment, we're just focusing on writing the best music we can together, you know. And we're thinking we may be releasing singles for a little bit there, but then most likely packaging that as an album once we have it all ready to go. There's been some like complications with our sort of process, but I won't go into that now, but yeah, it's been we've had to solve a few problems and figure out some ways to keep moving forwards. And yeah, I mean, we've done very well. We've got a whole bunch of new songs written, ready to record, and that's going to be happening next month.
Oh, this is exciting. So it's definitely moving forward. So because you released that in 2020 last year. But it's just exciting to know there's actually something actually going to happen. So. Yeah.
There's going to be a new song dropping within 4 weeks, I'd say.
Oof.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's a bit nostalgic as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I saw some comments that have been made by about I Built the Sky. So you got Guitar World magazine calling you prog titans. I mean, that's huge. Come on.
Yeah, I know, man. I know, it's insane. I don't know how that happens actually, but somehow we got asked to do an article and things, and that was with me and Jake. I think that was surrounding our Coalesce EP that we did together, which was 2021, and they were just really hyped on it and super friendly. So yeah, surreal, man, really surreal.
I mean, so look, everyone, this is legit stuff. I mean, you know, I Built the Sky is I would have to say pretty well known, but that's what we're talking about here. Then you had Jordan Rudess. He messaged you, right?
He did.
DM'd you on Instagram. What did he say?
He said he saw the name "Eye at the Sky" on like wherever he was, and thought, that's an interesting name. I'll give this a listen. And he said, yeah, it was cool, like cool stuff. So he messaged me and said, hey man, I saw your name on somewhere and decided I'd give it a listen, and I dig it. It's good shit. So that's pretty crazy too. Yeah, we've had a few back and forths and stuff like that. So yeah,
surreal, man, surreal. And that's the thing. That's the effect that your music is having on a global scale. So Rohan, so you're organizing a songwriting masterclass, is that right?
Yes, that is very true. Next month, so that's August 10 and 11, Saturday and Sunday at Unreal Studios in Sydney. I'll be putting on 2 sessions each day, and they're all very songwriting centered, but I will be like going into different things and answering questions as well. But yeah, I've just learned a lot about songwriting over the years, and I'm sort of going to distill it into a masterclass session. So the first one is going to be me sort of explaining to the group different techniques and things that I use with songwriting and whatnot. And I'm also going to be running another section where I'm going to bring in my computer and physically go through my sessions and how I sort of go about creating music that way too. So it's really, you can really see what I'm doing to get started on a song. I probably won't be able to finish a whole song in that session there, but at least it sort of goes into the recording elements and the songwriting in like literal terms, how I literally do it with my Pro Tools rig and whatnot.
Ooh, exciting stuff. Just something came to mind right now, just quickly. So what about when you have like a mental block and you run out of ideas, they're fresh ideas, and you're stuck on to write? What do you do?
Heaps of things. There's so many things. Okay, step 1, take a break. Maybe it's time to have a bit of a rest and come back to it fresh the next day. But there's things like you could start focusing on another element of the song, maybe try writing from a different perspective, like, the bass or the drums or a synth or something. You can try new tunings and things. Try writing in a new environment, maybe take yourself out of that room and try writing on the couch and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, things like that sort of come to mind, but I've actually got a whole list of things to try if you're stuck writing a song. Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. Because that happens sometimes, but I guess once you've been through it for a while, you won't know, especially if you're sort of newish to it, but you can build techniques. That's what happens with experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like the trap that people fall into is telling themselves they've got writer's block. Anytime I see someone and they say, "Oh, I've got writer's block," I'm like, "Don't tell yourself you've got writer's block. That's not going to help anything, because then you're telling yourself I have a problem." But I feel like there is no writer's block. It's just this is how writing goes sometimes. You're not always going to create the best music of all time right now. It takes time, and if you're stuck, maybe you just need to reassess things and reapproach things, but don't tell yourself you've got writer's blocks. Definitely not.
Yeah, because that's a negative statement straight away, isn't it? You're telling yourself you can't do it. What you're trained to do, or what you
absolutely.
You love doing. Yeah. So there's got to be other ways you can, like you said. Like, I didn't even actually think about that. Take a different avenue in the song. If you're writing something, just create something else new, especially if you're doing prog. But if you're doing pop punk or something like that, then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it
should be easier.
I mean, you could start on a new song and come back to it,
Yeah, there's ways. There's
so much stuff you can do, for sure.
Yeah, that just came to mind when you were talking about masterclass. But everybody, masterclass, Rohan Stevenson in Sydney. Check it out. Next August 10th and 11th, is that right?
10th and 11th, yeah. If you go to my Instagram, I've got a post that explains it a bit there, and on my website, eyeatthesky.com, you can find the details there. It's under my merch tab. So if you go to my merch tab, there's 3 different things you can see there, which because I'm doing a discount on both sessions, so you can attend both sessions in the day and get like 25% off, sort of thing. But yeah, and we're doing a barbecue at the end as well, so it's going to be a nice little a nice evening there.
Nice. Sounds fun. Sounds like a lot of people are going to learn some classy stuff.
Yeah, learn all my secrets. Learn
really
all my
good.
secrets.
You're doing that. You know, you're not only just making music, right? You found a way to reach out to the community and to educate what you've learned.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love sharing, like, you know, my passions. Like, I'm very passionate about music, and you know, if I can share that with others, then that's a win.
Yeah, cool. All right. Lastly, to wrap up, what's the future for I Built the Sky?
World domination and millions and millions of dollars. No, well, the first thing I want to do is finish my album. So that's my priority right now. I'm not really playing many shows at the moment, so I'm trying to keep at home where I can be creative and finish my songs. It's well underway now. I've got 2 songs basically locked down, so that's really exciting. But yeah, I'm looking at releasing those probably early next year. And then doing an Australian tour and overseas tour, promoting the album. And just trying to get to new places that I haven't been to yet. I think that's the goal for next year. Just play as much as possible and have my new album, and just keep the ball rolling and making great music, hopefully.
For sure. Everyone, Rohan Stevenson, thank you for joining us. And look, we're looking forward to the new music from I Built the Sky. Sunk Loto, everybody, as well.
Yeah.
He's a very big man. He's
very
doing
busy.
masters as well.
Yeah.
Getting going to the Czech Republic, getting new guitars.
Yeah. Lots happening always. It's good. It's a good way to be.
Yeah, for sure. 100%. All positive. Thanks again, Rohan. I really appreciate it. And we'll catch up soon one day. You know, when you're in Sydney, we'll have a beer.
I look forward to it, man. I look forward to it.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it.
Best. Take care.
Thanks, man.
Bye.